freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Until the killing of black men, black mothers' sons is as important as the killing of a white man, white mothers' sons. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. The older I get, the better I know that the secret of my going on is when the reins are in the hands of a young who dare to run against the storm. To me, young people come first. They have the courage where we fail. And if I can but shed some light as they carry us through the gale. Struggling myself don't mean a whole lot. I come to realize that teaching others to stand up and fight's the only way my struggle survives. I'm a woman who speaks in their voice, and I must be heard. Times I can be quite difficult. I bow to no man's word. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Not needing to clutch for power, not needing the light just to shine on me. I need to be just one in the number as I stand against tyranny. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
Friendly announcer. I have serious news to pass on to everybody. Yeah, what I'm about to say could mean the world's disaster. Could change your joy and laughter into tears and pain. It's the love in me of love today. Oh, don't delay. Sing yours in a right away. Oh, hate going round, breaking me heart. it's gone too far. Oh, yeah, yeah. Good evening to each of you. I almost said happy Monday because we used to normally coming on Mondays, but happy Tuesday to each of you. And we are excited. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is the conclusion of our Perspective Virtual Candidate Forum. And we thank each of you that have taken time out of your busy schedule to tune in. That shows that you are concerned and excited about the growth of the city that we call the Magic City, which is Birmingham, Alabama. Hello to each of you that are tuning in, and to those that will tune in. We do ask you to do as we always do. Please tag others in this and like and share. There's going to be some great information on for some great candidates. In a few moments, I will be bringing forth our school board. We just have 2 candidates tonight. We will have 1 representative from District 9 on. And then, as I told you, we will be rescheduling some of the candidates when they can come on with their regular scheduled week. So we will have a district from District 3 on tonight as well. So District 3 and District 9. So if you know people that live on those districts, please tag them. And then the second half of the show, we will have Birmingham City Council candidates from District 8 and 9. So get ready for great information tonight. And as always, if you have questions that you'd like to ask our candidates for the school board or City Council, please feel free to comment those questions and we will definitely get them answered. So I'm excited and hopefully you are as well. We do have 1 candidate backstage and I'm not going to delay the hour. We're going to go ahead and get her on so we can get started. And when our other candidate comes in, we will bring her in as well. Good evening.
Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?
Great. Thank you for joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Mary Boehm. She is currently a school board member on District 3, and she is seeking for re-election for that. And I have to be honest, I do have quite a few friends that are serving in the district, and I've heard nothing but great things about her. And then even having the chance to talk with her a little bit, it shows that she's passionate about her job. So let's dive right into the conversation. Give me a moment. And for starters, let me go ahead and bring our timer in. And so since you are the only person, and tonight everybody's going to have 2 minutes for each question, It will remain the same when our other candidate comes in. So to open up, you will have 2 minutes to do your opening statements. I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, your community involvement, and since you're already holding the school board seat, some of the accomplishments of things that you've seen happen or made happen in your district, and why is it that you are looking to be reelected?
Well, first, I just thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Mary Bohm, as you mentioned. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Birmingham. I've been involved in education and business and many other things in the city throughout my entire life. And I was inspired to run for public office by my father, Alan Drennan, who served on the first city council of Birmingham in the 1960s. I was elected to serve, as you mentioned, on the school board in 2017. So I've served for the last 4 years, and it's been a real honor and a privilege. Prior to that, I started my career working at the YWCA and the Red Cross. In fact, I resettled Southeast Asian refugees many, many years ago. And then had some years working in foundations and corporations. And the last 10 years of my career was spent with A+ College Ready, which is a statewide education organization. And my role was to lead an effort to bring more advanced courses to high schools throughout the state of Alabama. And worked with 171 high school principals and 1,000 teachers to train them to teach and do better jobs with advanced courses. And that led to Alabama being number one in the nation in growth in qualifying scores on AP scores for the last 10 years. So I'm very proud of that. That is really, I guess, a lot about who I am. I am married to Chris Bohm. I have 3 sons and 5 grandchildren. So perhaps is my time up on my introduction, Ben?
You are made it. You had like 2 seconds to spare, so very good.
Okay. Well, I would just say I have a lot to be proud of over the last much work to do over the next before we talk.
Okay, absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, our next candidate for the evening has joined us. This is Miss Susan Diane Mitchell, and she is running for the seat of School Board District 9. Miss Mitchell, you're muted. If you could unmute yourself. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
There is that. Will you hear that?
I don't hear it. It sounds clear on my end. Is there still an echo that you're hearing?
When I speak, but as long as it's on your end.
Okay. And so we're going to go ahead and get started, and we'll do the same with you. Right now, we're doing opening remarks. So you will have 2 minutes to give opening remarks. Tell us a little bit about yourself, any city activities that you participated in Birmingham, school board activities, and tell us why you are seeking to win the seat for School Board City Council District 9.
Thank you for having me so much, Mr. Vines. And thank you for allowing me to be in such esteemed company as Ms. Mary Bohm. My name is Susan Diane Mitchell, and I am a 30-year resident of Birmingham. I also have deep ancestral roots here in Alabama. My father is from Anniston, my grandmother is from Anniston, and my great aunt, all of them educators, was from Talladega County. And so I was back and forth here as a child from California, where I grew up, in Alabama. And I've been here for 30 years, and so I've considered this my home for that extent of time. I've had all 9 of my children here, and all 9 of my children have matriculated through Birmingham City Schools. I'm about a 40-year educator of many different varieties of education, from little ones in daycare to all the way to university level. I have a master's in English and American Literature from the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and an undergraduate degree in the same with a minor in Spanish from Jacksonville State. I also did 3 years at Spelman College, but I finished ultimately at Jacksonville State University. So I'm really proud to be from Alabama by way of Washington, D.C., where I was born, and of my beautiful father and my ancestors here. The reason why I'm running for Board of Education is because of my commitment to quality public education, the kind of public education that really grounded me as a child. And from my experience here in Birmingham as a mother and as an educator, I am very hopeful for our school system. I'm very proud of our school system. I've watched for over 3 decades beautiful educators who are coming from a rich legacy of just committed education, work with tremendous odds against them to nurture our children, including my own. And so, for that reason, when the seat became open, I decided I would run because I want to offer my service to our community as someone who stands for high quality public education. And I want to offer perhaps some new ideas or to re-inspire us to get back to a land-based learning or experiential learning curriculum and go forward into a revisit of home economics and nutrition and community building and a deep dive into literacy. These are my foci and my platform, but these are also my personal commitment, personal interest from being a mother, being an educator, and from being involved in the community. Currently, I am co-founder of my Millfield Community Land Trust.
Ms. Mitchell, I hate to
Yeah,
cut you
yeah.
off, but we had a time limit, and I did allow you a few moments to go over. So,
Oh,
hopefully,
I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. So, hopefully, some of the
There is
things
a
you want to
timer.
share that they can be applied in some of the questions that we'll ask.
Okay,
so thank you so
sure.
much. All right. So I'm gonna mute both of you, and what I'll do as I ask the questions, I will remain muted just to make sure that there's no additional feedback or anything. And so again, you have 2 minutes, and if you would kind of keep your eyes on the timer, because I'd like to, since it's just the two of you, I'd like to ask you as many questions as we can. So we'll start with Ms. Bourne and we'll end with Ms. Mitchell. So for the first question, what issues do you believe your district needs to address in its academic program and offerings? What changes would you recommend?
Shall I start?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, I believe that the biggest challenge the Birmingham City Schools is facing right now on the academic side is the Alabama Accountability Act, which requires us to have all third graders reading on grade level, or they must be held back. The last time we did testing, this was prior to COVID, only 23.75% of our kids were tested with that level of proficiency in the third grade. So we have a lot of work to do in that regard. And we have some exciting things in place that I believe will help us address those challenges. We can teach our children to read. We need to have a focus on both phonetics and whole language, and together using those things in deep support of our kids, with deep support of our teachers and our kids, we can make this happen. There are things that our families need help with too, and social emotional learning is another issue. So we'll bring in partners to help us with all the aspects of this work that need to happen, but it really must remain, in my opinion, the number one focus of the Birmingham City Schools over the next several years until we get this handled.
All right, give us a second to get the timer restarted, and then Ms. Mitchell, you can begin. All right, Ms. Mitchell.
So I'm responding to the same question. And I agree with Mary. That's what my response is. The Accountability Act, where all of the third graders need to be at reading level before they're promoted, is of great concern. And I'll just add to that narrative to give testimony, if you will, give witness that with the kind of whole language phonetic intervention, concentrated intervention, we can bring our children to grade level, because it happened for my daughter at Tuggle Elementary. At third grade, she was not at grade level, and it was of the 9 children, and she's my baby. It was a learning moment for me that she was having difficulty reading. And so working with the school and really diving deep into getting not only her, but several students in the class at reading level took a lot of work, and the teachers made it fun. And I'm just very proud to say she did get to reading level, to grade level, by the time that she finished Tuggle. And she was inducted into the honors program. And so I agree with Mary that returning to some basics in phonetic instruction and whole language instruction, and teaching our young people how to build their own vocabulary can repair a lot of the damage that has been done with different introductions of different kinds of reading modalities that really haven't done well for our students. So going back to traditional phonetics is what I advocate to help with this crisis. We can look at it as a crisis, but it's really an opportunity.
All right, thank you both for those answers. And this is what I'm going to do as a little toss up, and we won't start the timer for this. I'm interested in response to the question you answered. I know when I was in school, which was a while back, but actually in middle school and high school, we had 30 minutes every day. In middle school, it was the end of the day. In high school, it depended on your subject you took. We had 30 minutes where we were required to read a book or something. And then I know later on, each school was assigned a reading coach. In your opinion, do you think that needs to be brought back? And if you agree or disagree, talk about for a few moments how these schools benefit from programs like that and an assigned reading coach at those schools.
Susan, you want to go ahead?
Well, I can as one who has volunteered as a reading coach with adult learners, that one-on-one instruction is priceless. And we have so many beautiful resources in our own community with retired educators, with parents, with grandparents, and with young people, that we can definitely invest deeply in reading coaches. And that's the kind of intervention that I'm also in favor of. And if I missed any other part of your question with my enthusiasm, can you remind me?
Sure. The second half I asked about how would you feel about a requirement where every student had to have 30 minutes of reading, no matter what grade level they were.
Yes, and that's another great idea of the kind of reading intervention that will really make a difference. I remember those required reading times. I loved those required reading times as a child. And not only that, I was blessed with teachers who would sit and read to us. And so there's ways to access all of the doors of language and learning by listening to the voice, listening to a reader read to you, as well as sitting with yourself and reading, or reading in group. So there's all kinds of ways to bring in more interaction with reading. And we want to marry that with the best of technology, but not let the technology take us away from that basic instruction.
Well, okay, I will chime in on that as well. I completely agree that there should both be required reading time at every grade level and a reading coach in every school. So one of the exciting things, one of the good things that happened out of the terrible COVID crisis was that we have additional resources to spend. And Birmingham City is making a recommendation that we put an academic coach in every single school. So Mr. Devine, your idea is going to be brought to life, and I'm very excited about that. And, I am a STAIR tutor. That's a program that works with second grade students because it is important, as we now know through the Alabama Accountability Act, that students really have solid reading skills by second grade. And so I have seen this program, which is really excellent, work well. Another program, Better Basics, brings teachers into our school, retired teachers into many of our schools, and they work in very small groups reading with our kids. The teachers need support and additional professional development. We have some great programs. They need to be implemented with a deeper level of fidelity, and an academic coach can help, a reading coach or an academic coach can help do that. And it's just as important for middle school and high school students to read as it is to learn to read in elementary school. And part of our problem is that for many years, as you heard from the statistics, too many kids have been passed along that do not read at the level they need to. This can help them address that challenge as well. It's a slightly different way to get it done, but it's doable.
All right. Thank you both for those responses. Like I said, that was just something I wanted to throw in. And so for the next questions, we're going back to the timer. The next question, in your opinion, what can be done to improve student achievement and ensure that every high school senior is college ready? And we'll start with Ms. Baum.
Well, I'll tackle that one first. We have, we need to start early, and we need to I really think that the high school success starts in middle school or earlier, but let's just start with middle school here. We have a plan, again, with using some of the resources that have been made available with the CARES Act funds to really strengthen our middle schools, to provide additional resources in arts and cultural activities and music, singing, plays, etc., as well as a deeper focus on career tech, so that kids can begin to understand what it is they like to do and where they want to go. Not to say every child still needs to have options and not be charted too quickly into one pathway or another. But it does need to start in middle school, that we begin to help kids see the possibilities. So one of the things I really like is the mentoring program that and the apprenticeship program that comes with the Birmingham Promise. It gives kids a chance to see what is out there for them, to help them understand why they need to study more and do more in school, because they have the chance to perhaps work or be a part of a great college life or a job. If we could start that a little earlier, not maybe with the full apprenticeship, but just with opportunities to see those things, I think it would be helpful. Our ACT is too low in most of our schools right now, and many of our kids are really not in a position to get into a university or to be academically achieving at the level they want. We have ACT prep programs that are also very useful. Really additional instruction and getting that right, and that's where
Thank you so much. And Ms. Mitchell, same question.
Repeat it for me.
You're muted, Mr. Devines.
Okay, let's try this again. What can be done to improve student achievement and ensure that every student who desires to go to college is college ready?
Okay. So I agree that being college ready needs to start earlier than high school and middle school is that fertile ground to plant those seeds of really good study habits, organizational habits and skills, and setting goals, being able to be exposed, as Mary said, to different career paths and to understand completely what it would take to be able to be college ready and to be competitive, to be accepted into college. What I'm concerned about is that students who, for many reasons, may be at an academic disadvantage, but still want to go into careers that require professional degree, um, are encouraged, that they're not discouraged, that you can build from wherever you are. You can build. I worked as an adjunct instructor at a community college here in Birmingham for a number of years, and I would receive the students who were coming out of high school with dreams of going into nursing and going into social work, into education, and they had to take a lot of classes to bridge or remediate what skills that they were lacking, but they were passed through to graduate. And so not only was I distressed that they weren't prepared for college level composition work and critical reading work at college level, but I was also inspired and encouraged that they could catch up. They could with that really good mentoring, which I provided and many other instructors provided, and by using all of the resources that are available.
All right, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And next question. In your opinion, what is the role of schools in teaching children about topics such as sex education, cyber safety, AIDS, wellness, and bullying?
I can start.
Okay.
I'm thinking back an experience in high school, really in elementary school, learning information about human anatomy, about reproduction. But it was really in my sexuality class in high school that I had a wonderful, open, beautiful teacher who was very healthy in her relationship with sexuality. And she allowed for us to ask any questions. She was married, it was a Catholic high school. She allowed us to ask any questions, and we learned a tremendous amount of information for young people that really prepared us during a time when AIDS, HIV was just coming into awareness. I lived in the Bay Area, and so in the 80s, it was just being made aware that this is an issue. So it is crucial that we do teach our young people responsibly, creatively, realistically about sex, sexuality, health education, and the interplay between those three, and to acknowledge that as a young person, you are growing into your adulthood and you will feel all of these wonderful sensations, but you can make really good decisions for yourself if you understand what's happening, if you allow physical activity that can redirect sexual energy until we're mature enough to handle all the repercussions of it and to be honest about it. It's not helpful to not talk about these things. So bullying, the cyber world, and all of the pressures that young people can have is oftentimes tied up hugely. So the role of school mentoring systems in schools can really tremendously help with that.
All right. I love your answer. And Ms. Boym, I know that you got booted out for a moment, but we're glad you're back. I'll ask the question again. In your opinion, what is the role of schools in teaching children about topics such as sex education, cyber safety, AIDS, wellness, and bullying?
Well, I agree with everything Susan said. I completely think she hit that right on the nail on the head with those thoughts. I believe that in Alabama, we are too careful about those things, and we are afraid as a people to talk about at least the sexuality question, and we don't want to address the fact that kids are human beings and that they do have these feelings, and we need to address them early on. So I am extremely hopeful that that will change. It does need to come as a policy change from the State Department of Education, because they tie our hands in many cases in what we are allowed to talk about. Now, sexuality is confusing to a lot of kids today, as the LGBTQ community has concerns, and those children need to be affirmed and supported in their decisions. And I don't think we do a very good job with that. But I hope we will get better. And I am extremely excited about the social and emotional learning programs that are becoming absolutely essential and a key part of every student's day in many schools across the nation, including Birmingham City Schools. That is where we can teach our kids to value themselves, to consider the consequences of their actions, both when it comes to violence or when it comes to bullying or to sexuality, and to value themselves first and to love themselves is the key thing we need to teach our kids and our teachers, and have them work together first on that issue before they try to tackle academics.
All right, thank you so much. The next question: would you support closed schools in your district being purchased and used for community resource centers, homeless shelters, or personal development centers for children and teens? Why or why not?
To that one, yes, yes, yes. In fact, I'm part of a group of people who are seeking the use of an empty school at the moment for a lot of those programs you're mentioning. There are ways that we can resolve our own social issues. There are resources here that are not even being utilized, and there are wonderful, giving, caring, genius human beings who are devoted to doing the kind of work that you just mentioned, Mr. Devine. So if we can get agreement that we're all on the same page and we all want things to be much, much better, and we can have a generosity of spirit to allow community organizations to have space, to create space for the young people, for the community events and education that can really support not only the transformation of Birmingham, but also support our schools, support our communities, and support our families.
All right. Next question: how important is it that every student, teacher, support staff, and employee of Birmingham City Schools have access to counseling and therapy to address mental issues? Ms. Boyd, I'm going to start with you.
I'll start with that one. I can't imagine how hard it is to be a teacher. We've talked all through COVID about essential workers in our hospitals and nurses and doctors, but truly teachers are on the front line in ways that equal that. And I don't think we can understand the level of stress that brings, especially when they're being asked to teach in brand new ways with brand new equipment that they've never seen before, like during COVID. And and to handle things that our children bring with them, because our students, many of them come from high poverty, high violence, high crime situations, and those come to school with our kids and therefore become the problems of our teachers. And we need to help them in every way we can. We need to help them find ways to cope through social emotional learning, which is equally in part as important for teachers as it is for students. And we need also mental health counselors to take the burden off of our teachers when a student's problems become greater than they can handle, along with trying to teach for the full day. That's not really your question. Your question is about them, and I believe that in fact there is mental health services available to our teachers in great measure through the health programs and the insurance programs that we have. Perhaps we need to do more though. Certainly if they need it, we need to give them what they need.
Ms. Mitchell.
I often refer to my own experience, my own lived experience. And when I was in high school can be really tricky. It's a wonderful time, but it can be a real tricky time emotionally. And every Thursday we had peer support with Mr. Sasso from 3:30 to 4:30. And that peer support group, we learned reflective listening. We learned how to be there for each other without judgment. And it was very populous, but it was one of the best experiences of my high school years. And I've asked the principal at Parker, where my Ramsey, where my daughter is in the IB program, because a lot of her friends were experiencing some anxiety. There was a beautiful student who was murdered a couple years ago, and they took it really, really hard. And so peer support, where peers support one another, but are trained in how to listen without judgment, is a beautiful experience. And so I would like to see more of those services utilized. And just as a professional who, like Mary just spoke of, where we're dealing with students who are often in crisis, I have needed myself someone to talk to, someone who can have the listening skills to reflect back to me so that I can make sense of all of the feelings I'm feeling, the perceptions I'm perceiving, as someone who's in the position of guiding someone through their educational process while they're going through major life trauma. And that is very helpful. It's very helpful. I sought out the 7 free sessions when I was working with the Literacy Council as part of my AmeriCorps service, because being in contact with people who are experiencing homelessness and helping them read was really, really emotionally pulling on me. So I needed to get that counseling so I could keep myself in good spirits and be of service to others.
All right, thank you both for those answers. This next question, this is one that I asked on the Mayor's Forum, and I'm interested to get your input on it. Studies show that cities in the United States who are ranked as top cities invest strongly in their school systems. As a school board member, how would you work with the council for an investment of $25 million or more into the Birmingham City school systems? We'll start with Ms. Boyne.
Okay, well, that'd be fun. I'd love to see that happen. And I actually believe that the programs that the mayor has initiated now could be invested more deeply in, and more students could be supported with them. So well, let's say there's 2 parts to this. I definitely want the Birmingham Promise, the apprenticeship program, and the scholarship program to be sustained and to have a broader reach. But also the monies that we're investing now with the CARES Act will end soon. And so I am fearful that some of the great programs that we might put in place would have to come to an end. For example, the academic coaches that we'll put in every classroom. We need more teachers. We need to reduce our classroom size. We need more focus on reading. And so I spend the money in emotional learning and in academic support and with people things. I wasn't always ever of smaller class sizes. A grade teacher can teach a number of children, I think. However, with COVID and the challenges that's going to continue and other things like that we will likely see, we are going to need to have smaller classrooms. We're going to need to be able to safely distance, and so smaller classrooms are essential. I also believe one of the most important things is to invest in preschool. And we have a great preschool program in the state of Alabama. It takes some matching funds, and we could use monies from the city council to have every child that enters our 5K program enter a 4K program first.
All right, Ms. Mitchell.
Well, I got experience that possibility as well. And basically, the three ideas that are supporting my platform could be beautifully funded with that money. My first idea, and it's not necessarily an original idea, it's an ancient idea, is a land-based experiential learning curriculum within an Earth and Environmental Sciences Academy in the rich tradition of the state, with scientists and educators like George Washington Carver. And so I am a parent whose child successfully finished Carver in the Health Careers Academy, and she's just started her apprenticeship in dental hygienist school just this week. So these academies are a brilliant idea. All of the 3 initiatives that are in place now, and that the mayor has put in place. Thank you very much. And those are brilliant. But to dive even deeper, to prepare our students who will learn in different ways and want to go into different pathways. So I'm thinking about the students who really do well with hands-on learning. And so learning in smaller cohorts and learning in traditional environments as well as non-traditional environments, such as outdoors and in land-based curriculums, will really help, I think, to give a more whole person experience to our young people. Was there a part of your question that I didn't get to with the seconds remaining?
You tackled all of it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So we have about 10 minutes remaining. So what we'll do, I'll ask you 2 more questions, and then after that, we will give you 2 minutes for your closing statements. So our next question: working closely with the mayor, city council, and community religious leaders can bring great results to a school board. How important do you feel that this factor is? We'll start with you.
Susan, you go ahead. I guess I'm unmuted. I'll go.
Okay.
So I believe that partners, that Birmingham City School, the board, the teachers, the leadership cannot do this work alone. We need partners. The first partners we need are the mayor and city council. After that, we need the nonprofit world and others, but we need them to believe in us and to partner side by side with us. In cities where the mayor and city council have been more deeply involved in education, I think in this city, it's been sort of a hands-off approach until perhaps Mayor Woodfin. I believe that is a positive way to go. I think that can bring more energy, more brain power, more money, and more thought to the work. So I believe it's very important. I prefer a deeper partnership, not a less deep one. And you know, the city council has an education committee right now. They met last week. I think they ought to be meeting more deeply with us on a regular basis and not just sort of, and they do, but I'd like to see that deepened and them understand our budgets, understand our programs, understand our challenges in a very deep and meaningful way, and then help us address those and not, and then there are things that that you mentioned community schools, for example, or using buildings that are empty in the community. Those are the kind of things that the city council and mayor could do that really the Birmingham City Schools, it's a little outside of our wheelhouse to do those things, as well as keep all 44 of our schools up, functioning, maintained, and having great after school and preschool and prior to school programs. So having sort of the birth to 5 piece and then the community piece would be a great place for city council to partner with us as well.
Ms. Mitchell.
Yes, I agree that working closely and closer with the mayor's office, and city council can only benefit the transformation and the continued evolution of our school system. It's really something that should be, and I think we're at a threshold moment where we all want what's best. And so if we can find a way to be on the same page with the resources that are available in this city, so that community organizations, nonprofit organizations, grassroots organizations can realize and work to resolve many of the educational social issues that our young people face, with greater harmony between the mayor's office, city council, and interested organizations. So I'm very hopeful that we will be able to work together. I think there is a spirit of love that is overriding all of our deep interests here. I remain committed to that. And so that's the spirit that I bring to any interaction with the mayor, with the mayor's office, City Hall, the Board of Education, and City Council.
All right, thank you so much. And our last question, how do you feel about charter schools? Do you feel this could be an additional great option for parents instead of having to only choose from public schools or private schools? We'll start with Ms. Bourne.
Well, this is a place that I refer from my opponent, so I'm glad to have a chance to. Charter schools are a challenge for several reasons. Are you getting feedback?
Just a little. Keep speaking. I think it's going away.
What do I need to do?
Keep speaking. I think it's going away.
Any.
And we're going to start your time over.
Okay, great. Okay. So take away resources, students, and from traditional public schools. So that's just the off the top challenge with charter schools. But more importantly, public energy and mind share goes to charter schools that sort of outsized to their size in the community. So like in Birmingham, there are 1,000 kids maybe in charter schools combined. In Birmingham City, there are 20,000. In Jefferson County, there are 30,000 students. There's so many more kids in traditional schools, and yet the charter schools get a lot of energy. There's a lot of talk about them, and it's outsized, really. But I will say this, I'm glad that Birmingham City is a charter school authorizer. I appreciate the opportunity to look at each charter school application that comes our way. We do that with the board, the staff, and an outside consultant who assesses the proposal, and then we can see the pros and cons of each of those applications. I ended up not believing that I would, but I voted for 2 of the charter schools that came our way. And I'll give one example, and that is the Magic City Acceptance Academy that is opening this fall and will serve LGBTQ kids. I do not believe that Birmingham City has anywhere close the kind of programming and resources and support for those students that this charter school will have. And so I would love to have seen them in our system. That's what I really want. Charter schools to be those that we don't already have and that are key to the success of some kids be brought into our system. Being denied always and then approved by the state, which is what. So I know my time is up. Thank you for that.
Thank you. And Ms. Mitchell.
I am in favor of charter schools as a solution to any of our educational concerns in Birmingham. But I will be honest that when I was first made aware of the model, it was intriguing to me. This was in the early 90s, and there was a lot of publicity, perhaps rightly so, of the inner city schools, how they were just going downhill and it's violent, and people were moving to the suburbs and abandoning schools. And there was a story about a school that turned into a community school using the charter school model. And I was really fascinated by how community and families came together and created this school. Well, it's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good, for positive, such as the Magic City Acceptance Initiative that Mary just educated me on. But it can also be used for certain agendas, certain corporate agendas, certain profit-driven agendas. And this is my concern, that using the charter school model to allow for all kinds of different schools to emerge can create a situation where you have bubble-like schools that are only designed for a particular demographic or population, and can lead to resegregating schools racially as well as economically. So while we want to be aware and sensitive of special interests, we have to be also cautious that using public money in a way that takes away from a public good, such as charter schools, the way that I understand it, is not going to be what our 22,000 students need to do well in this city. That's my position.
All right. Thank you so much. And we have come to the end. And again, I want to thank you both for joining us tonight. For those who are just joining us, we have Ms. Mary Boehm with, she's running for re-election for Birmingham City School Board District 5, and Ms. Susan Diane Mitchell, who is seeking to be elected for the Birmingham City School Board District 9. And at this time, I'm going to allow them both to give 2-minute closing remarks. And then once we get done with that, our city council candidates should be arriving virtually, and then we will be ready for them. So we'll start with Ms. Boehm.
Mr. Devine, I want to thank you for this opportunity, and I've enjoyed so much being with Ms. Mitchell. I'd like to say that the role of the board is primarily to serve alongside of our superintendent. And in Dr. Mark Sullivan, we have an excellent superintendent. So this board needs to work with him and be as supportive of he and his leadership team's initiatives as we can. I do believe we need to have, and we do have a strategic plan, and we need to stay focused on that, and it's measurable, and we need to make sure that the measures are in place, that we and that we manage to those measures. Would be honored to be reelected. There's much work to do. A couple of things I'm proud of. I didn't really talk about this at the beginning. 67% of our schools made progress in the last year. Over the last 4 years. We're in a very strong financial position now. We need to sustain that. But we have an opportunity with the resources we have after the challenges of the last year and a half of COVID to truly invest $185 million in CARES Act funding that can be completely transformative for our district. So I'm excited about that. I think that a person who's managed monies and resources in the past through many career moves that I've had, along with the experience I've gained over the last 4 years on the school board, will allow me to be the better of the two running in this district to do that work in the next 4 years. We have student enrollment losses. Birmingham is not growing as a city, as we just learned this week when we learned that Huntsville is actually a city who's bigger than we are right now in the city limits. That is impacting our schools, along with some of the student enrollment losses we have going to the charter schools. We need to reverse that, and the only way to do that is to improve our academics and our offerings in schools so that we become the school of choice for our families in the city of Birmingham. That's my goal. That's what I think about and work on every single day. I do believe that the board must work with the leadership team. We don't know the answers. We know them together as a team. And I look forward to working with the Birmingham City School Board. However, that may be constituted after next Tuesday, and I encourage everybody. And hopefully you will choose to elect the district. Thank you again for this time.
Absolutely. You're indeed welcome. And Ms. Mitchell.
Thank you. Thank you. And also thank you, Mary, for just meeting you and learning from you. And I would love to meet you in person and be on the board with you. But my closing remarks are that I am excited. I'm excited about this opportunity. However it turns out, I'm excited to be involved in my community, in the future of the schools here. As I said, I'm very proud of Birmingham City Schools, and I've been involved for 30 years. So I'm speaking honestly and from my heart, and I truly believe we are at the threshold of major transformation in our school system. If we can all come into agreement that what is best for 22,000 students is what is going to keep us connected and working in harmony. I want to make a pitch for a part of my platform that I think is really important and maybe often overlooked, and that is how the school nutrition that our students are being provided for. And I believe all students in our system are on free lunch and breakfast program, which is beautiful. But if we can transform that school nutrition program to really dive deep into some superfoods and making things really delicious and giving some incentives and education, bringing back home education, home economics education with the latest technology and information on nutrition, so that students are even more empowered with their own bodies, with their own minds, with the growth of their own brain. And I have done research, and I truly believe that this will make a marked improvement in our outcomes, in the spirit of cooperation in our schools, and in our students' well-being.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us, and best wishes to you on next Tuesday in the election. And I can already tell that regardless of what happens, I can see you two working together on some things in the future. So again, best wishes, and I look forward to hearing great things from you both, and have a great evening. And at this time, I will be sending you both backstage, and I do ask that you drop from the live feed, and you can continue to watch on Facebook as we are bringing the candidates in now. Thanks again, and have a great evening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. That was your school board candidate, Miss Susan Mitchell for District 9 and Miss Mary Bohm for District 3. And I did want to also state that Jason Meadows, who is also running for School Board District 9, he was slated to join us tonight, but he did have some obligations. So, again, we're going to give a few moments for our city council candidates to join us, and then we will be ready to proceed with them. And as always, if you all have any questions or comments that you'd like to ask any candidate, please post them in the comments and we will get them answered. I want to thank everyone who joined us last night for our mayoral candidate forum. We had a great virtual turnout. We saw a lot of positive comments in the section, and like I said, that shows that you are concerned about our city and the way we are moving forward. And just as a reminder, all of the virtual forums, if you may have missed your district, we will be reposting those before the week is out. That way you can have a chance to go ahead and begin and watch those again. So we do have one candidate backstage. I do know that some have neighborhood meetings tonight and other obligations, but they will be joining us. I'm going to go ahead and bring her in. And this is Miss LaTanya Tate, and she is running for the seat of City Council District 9.
Hi,
Good evening. How are you?
good. How?
I'm great. Great to see you on. And if you could, I don't know if you have another device on, but I'm hearing a little feedback. So if you could mute that device.
Let me make.
I'm going to mute you just a second to allow you. Okay. Let's try it now.
What about now?
Okay, that's perfect. So again, thank you for joining us. Okay. And so let's go ahead and get started again, ladies and gentlemen. And your light is going in and out. I don't know.
I know. Let me see. This is my.
I'm going to take you backstage just one quick second.
Okay.
So District 9, it actually covers a lot of communities in the city of Birmingham. It covers portions of Ensley, particularly Findlay, Ossipco, portions of Forestdale, Dolomite, Docena, a lot of areas. And then, as I said, District 9 actually shares portions of District 8 with Ensley. So if you're in those neighborhoods, these are your candidates. Okay, that is better. All right, so since you are the first one, you get the first quote of the questions, and if the other candidates arrive, they have to get in where they fit in. So 1 second. And what we're going to do for your opening statements, we're going to allow you 2 minutes to tell us a little bit about yourself, your city activities, community activities, and your passion for the city of Birmingham and what made you want to run for re-election to the seat of City Council District 9.
Well, hello. Thank you, Mr. J, for inviting me and to the platform. And I'm LaTanya Tate, candidate for City Council District 9. I am the founder and CEO of a nonprofit organization.
Okay, she went up for a second. Again, I'm going to take her backstage. This technology, y'all know it has a mind of its own. Okay. And then we have some more candidates that are coming in. As you come in, I'll be bringing you on. Good evening. This is Miss Lynette Peters. She is running for the seat of City Council District 8. And as you all are aware, Councilor Stephen Hoyt, he has held this seat over 15 years, and he has decided not to run for re-election. We have a lot of people running, so we have portions of District 8 on tonight, and the remainder will be on tonight. And let me go ahead and bring Ms. Tate back in. Okay, we got you now, and hopefully that keeps you on. Okay, and so what we're going to do, Ms. Peters, Ms. Tate, let me make sure I can hear you. Say something for me.
Hello.
Okay, that's perfect. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to mute the both of you, and I'll give the preliminaries one more time, and we'll get started. And as stated, as other candidates come in, they'll just join in wherever we are. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is our City Council virtual forum, and right now we have one candidate for District 8 and one for District 9. And so what we'll do to get started, bring our timer in. When I unmute, both of you will have 2 minutes to give your opening remarks. We'll start with Ms. Tate and go to Ms. Peters. In your opening remarks, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, city involvement with the school board, just any neighborhood activities, and tell us, why do you love Birmingham, and what was your passion for seeking the seat of city council for your district? And we'll start with Ms. Tate.
Tate, candidate for City Council District 9. I am the CEO and founder of Alabama Justice Initiative, which is a nonprofit social justice organization that focuses on advocacy and policy work that centers around formerly incarcerated, directly impacted people like myself and community people, things that affect the community. I do a lot of organization. We do a lot of stuff, prison reform, nation reform, for that they can vote if they have not committed a crime or more turpitude. So we've done last year. We did. I partnered with Commissioner Sheila Tyson and did the Ride for Justice, and the Ride for Justice was just all community for social education, prison reform, prison.
Hello.
Ms. Peters, you could go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Lynette Peters, and I am running for City Council for District 8. I am a mother of 5 women and a grandmother of 5 children. I also have been the president of Inslee Highlands for over 10 years. I've been the secretary and the vice president of Inslee Highlands. I have been a Girl Scout troop leader in Minor Elementary and Bush Middle. I have also been the PTA president at Bush Middle. I have also been the vice president and the secretary at Bush Middle. I am very active at jail when my daughters was there. I am very active in Minor Elementary. My children have went through all the schools that they were zoned to go through, and they received quite a good education. I believe in making our educational system better than what it is for District 8. We lost a lot of schools, but yet we still have a lot of parents and children that go to charter schools from District 8. They go to private schools in District 8. What is the problem with our public schools? I believe in taking that money and building our public schools because every child deserves a chance. What's offered at a charter school should be offered at a public school, because we all can't go to private schools and we all can't get into a charter school unless you choose not to go to your public school. So we need to have an equal block there. I also would like to bring more companies or industrial sites into District 8. We have the Crossplex that is stagnant. The Crossplex is not going anywhere, and that is not what we was promised. And that is my platform.
All right. Thank you so much. Good on time. And allow for a second for our digital timer to restart. And Mr. Eric Hall has joined us. We'll go to him next, and we'll go back to Ms. Tate. Mr. Eric Hall is running also for the seat of City Council District 9. And Mr. Hall, you have 2 minutes for opening remarks. In these comments, we ask that you tell us about yourself. Why do you love Birmingham? What was your passion for running for City Council District 9, community involvement, civic activities in our city.
First, let me say thank you for the invitation part of this wonderful platform. As it relates to the reason why I'm running for Birmingham City Council, I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to serve as a neighborhood president for the Central Pratt Neighborhood Association. I've had an opportunity to serve in many capacities on several boards that actually was a part of the thriving process of the Pratt City neighborhood and also with District 9. I've served as a community liaison under the previous administration under Councilor Marcus Lundy. I've also had the opportunity to be mentored by another District 9 councilor, the late Honorable Leroy Bandy. I've been serving this community for a long time, whether it's serving in ministry or whatever capacity. My heart is for District 9. I'm a longtime resident of District 9. My church is in District 9. And pretty much all I know is District 9. I am the only candidate that have received several national endorsements to include outstanding recognition from First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama. I'm the only candidate that have raised over $4 million to help those who were impacted by disaster to rebuild their homes and rebuild their lives. I'm the only candidate that have been on the ground running as a Black Lives Matter organizer and activist fighting against injustice and against systemic racism to build a better Birmingham and to build a better Alabama, particularly for Black lives. My fight is for those who are living on the margins, and we're working daily to make sure that Black lives matter.
All right, thank you so much. You hit the time right on the head. And Ms. Tate, we're going back to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, 2 minutes.
Okay, so am I just reintroducing myself again?
Yes, you can start from the beginning. We gave you your full time.
Okay, well, again, I am LaTanya Tate. I'm the CEO and founder of Alabama Justice Initiative. I'm the mother of one son, the grandmother of one granddaughter, and the oldest of 3 brothers. I attended public school, graduated from Phillips High School, graduated from the University of Phoenix.
Okay, you muted by accident.
What about now? What about now?
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, and I'm formally retired. I am retired from the Florida Department of Corrections as a former probation and parole officer. And so my community involvement, my organization organizes around mass incarceration, issues that affect the Black communities. We also do a lot of legislative work where we get a lot of policies passed. We just shut down a $30 billion prison construction deal. We have a campaign that's out now that's called Communities Not Prison. So we organize, for Black and brown people as well. So a lot of people, I've been on the ground since 2001 when my experience started with my son, being incarcerated. So all the issues that are affecting communities, we definitely tackle the voter suppression. We did a campaign last year with a C3 table that I see there called Alabama Forward, Shake the Field, where we were registering formerly incarcerated and directly impacted people, and even those in prison voting during the presidential election. So we do an array of things. And so I'm running for a city council because District 9 deserves better and needs new leadership and proven leadership.
All right, thanks to each of you. And let's do this. Everybody make sure you're not muted on your end, because I am going to mute each of you. That way you're not double muted. And so what I'll do, you'll remain muted by me while each of you are answering the question. The way we'll go tonight, Ms. Peters, you will answer each question first. Then we'll go to Ms. Tate, and then we'll close out with Mr. Hall. And how this process works tonight, each of you will have 1 minute to ask each question. Please keep in mind that this is not a debate, it is a forum. So for our District 9 candidates that are on, you will not have the pleasure of doing a rebuttal. If there is something that you disagree with or like to pick it back with your opponent, please try to get as much of that in as in your closing statements. So tonight we'll be tackling a range of things from food deserts, crime, education, everything. So here is our first question. Transportation. I know this is something that we've all heard about in Birmingham pretty much for a while. So I'd like to be curious as to know, how do you feel about the transportations currently available in our city? We know that there are not enough options. If elected as a city councilor, what suggestions would you bring to increase our transportation options? Ms. Peters.
The first suggestion, Brian, is that the buses need to be on time. I used to catch the bus when I first moved here from Mississippi. So that's a very, very important issue with public transportation. If I'm catching the bus, I want to be on time to my job. And it should run every 30 minutes like it used to, instead of every hour and a half. And the cities that is not putting in money for us to run into their cities need to add money so we can increase the passage into their cities. I believe everybody should bring something to the table. Each city should bring money to the table for their residents. It's not fair that Birmingham pay for Hoover and then Hoover not pay Birmingham. Everybody should pay each other. Everybody should put something in the pot. And again, I state that if the buses run on time, I feel like a lot of people would catch the bus. But I can't be late for my job and I'm waiting on the bus. Even on rainy days, I need the bus to run on time. If that's how I'm getting to work, or if I have stopped driving. In order for people to stop commuting as much as they can in cars, we must have reliable transportation. And again, I state, if the buses run on time, more people will catch the bus, and then it could go in different areas of the cities, and therefore people could get to work on time.
And before I toss it over to Ms. Tate, I did want to let you all know that since it's just the three of you, you will have 2 minutes to answer each question. Now, if a fourth candidate comes in, that's when we'll reduce your time to 1 minute. But for now, each of you do have 2 minutes. So, Ms. Tate, we're going to you.
I have family that's been working for the transit system maybe 30 years or so. And I remember growing up, riding the bus, and as Miss Peters said, how often the bus ran. We really enjoy as young people getting on the bus, going downtown, And so I would like to see it is plenty transit systems in different states that Birmingham, big as we are, we could replicate, some of these services. When I look at Atlanta, I'm able to go over there and catch a MART and go from one part of town, to the other. And so we have the rail, some rail systems here that I think that we should have been implemented that and put that in place as well. And so I believe in, we got Lyft and Uber, the ride shares, and we should make every resource available, even for people that don't have money, like partner with, the Lyft, the ride shares, like Ms. Peters said, everybody coming together, pooling their money, making sure that people that are not accessible or don't have means to pay for transportation, we need to make every effort available to make sure that that is done. And so, as she stated, the buses need to run quite as often as they are, even longer. People work at night. People have different, working hours. Most people are not blessed to work traditional hours. Me being a CEO of a organization, I'm able to go to work virtually. I have a car, but most people are not in the same predicament as I am in, or some of you all may be. So we need to make sure that we reimagine, what does transit really look like for every working person or every person, to use these systems.
All right. Thank you for your response. And Mr. Hall.
So I actually agree with both Ms. Tate and Ms. Peters, we do need to invest in our transportation industry and market. Birmingham is a city that's on the move. And I think it's now time that we modernize our transportation systems. We have, of course, we have Max Transportation, we have Birmingham On Demand, we have Uber, Lyft. There are still some taxi cab services that are operating in Birmingham, in addition to other share ride options. And so we need to look at how we're investing in those different outlets. Another thing I do want to say is that we do have to be very mindful of the public transportation and how it's accessible. There are still sidewalks that aren't accessible, where we have max transit pickups that's not accessible to those who are handicapped. And sometimes our handicapped and disabled citizens have to either be on the right of way on the street or near the street to where they can actually access the bus. That's totally unacceptable. We have enough money in our budget to make sure that every bus station have a sheltered covering for those passengers who are riding the bus in case it's a situation to where we have inclement weather. And so those are some of the immediate concerns, immediate things that we need to take care of, and some of the things that we need to do. We need to invest in our people. Transportation is definitely a big thing, especially considering that the World Games is coming to Birmingham. We should be ready. We should be prepared, and we need to make the proper investments in making sure that our transportation is taken care of. And of course, I think we need to modernize, and we need to look at rapid transit and investing in a train system in Birmingham.
All right, thank you so much. The next question: providing a variety of food options in your community is important to citizens. What will you do as a counselor to ensure your residents have access to a variety of grocery stores, markets that have fresh and farm-grown produce, restaurants, and food trucks in your district? And I know that each of you, this is a passion for each of you, because all of you, your areas suffer somewhat as a food desert. So I will allow the same order, and we'll start with Ms. Peters.
Yeah, food desert. Right now, we only have 2 grocery stores that's for the same company. My first option would be, why can't we get another grocery store or market of some kind in the Winn-Dixie building? I have been told that the rent is so high on that building that a entrepreneur couldn't afford to come in, because by the time he tried to do salaries, stocking, his rent would kill him. And it's not fair to District 8. We need more variety. We need some kind of way to get another store in District 8. I don't know if I need to walk the pavement. I don't know if I need to walk to Atlanta, Washington. We need a store in District 8. It is bad when you only have 2 stores with the same company. And your variety, you have no variety, because what's at one store is the same store that's at the other store. So where the variety doesn't come in there. We have the same stores. So we are in a desert, and we need to come out the desert. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't want to see a Walmart there. I don't want to see a Publix there." We need something better than what we have, and we need a better choice of what we have. We need quality vegetables. We need quality meat. We need people to gain employment in those stores. We need people to be able to get to that store. That store sits in the center of District 8. Right now, you're looking at both sides, but you look at the same store. And I think that's not fair to us as citizens of District 8. And that's my view of it.
All right, thank you so much for your response. And I do want to welcome Miss Wanda Wright. She is running also for the seat of City Council District 8. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow her to give her 2-minute introduction. And what we will do, we will also allow you to then go back and answer the question, and I'll ask you the question after you give your introduction. And in your 2-minute introduction, you can tell us your name, of course, again, why you are running for City Council District 8. Why are you so passionate about Birmingham? Any city, community, or civic work that you've done in the city of Birmingham?
Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Wanda Wright. I'm running for Birmingham City Council District 8. And just a little bit about myself. I'm a real estate agent here for the state of Alabama, a previous state licensed contractor, the founder of 2 nonprofit organizations where we mentor youth and young adult. We do hold a lot of in-school mentoring programs as well, and also providing food in food deserts such as Ensley, Fairfield, and those surrounding areas also. The reason that I'm running for District 8 is it's kind of dear to me because this is the area that I grew up in as a child. I attended West End, Jackson Olin, and Ensley High School to be exact. Graduated from West End High School. Moved to Roebuck Centerpoint probably about the age of 21, came back 20 years later, and I was not very pleased with what I saw. I would have thought that our neighborhood and our district would have grown rather than declined. So I'm very passionate about the revitalization of our communities and our community development, as well as just looking at a lot of things that we once had in our younger years that are no longer available for our children, such as community programs that are not there that were once there. So these things are a great passion for me. And I believe that with my skill and ability as well as expertise in many of those areas, that I would be a great asset to District 8 as a city councilman. And now I know we have many people that are running, and everyone that we have running has something to bring to the table. That's a definite. But either way it go, hey, we're going to work together to make it happen.
All right, awesome. And I'll keep you unmuted, and we'll go ahead for the question. And as a reminder, I did tell you all that if another candidate joined, you would be down to 1 minute. So for the remainder of all the questions, you'll have 1 minute. So your question, Ms. Wright, is providing a variety of food options in our communities is very important to our citizens. What will you do as a counselor to ensure that your community has a variety of grocery stores, markets, restaurants, and has access to food trucks in your districts?
Okay. As a councilman, one of the things that I'm very passionate about is the fact that we don't have those things in our district. I will advocate and push for a major grocery store within our 5 Points West area because it is definitely needed. We should not have to drive 15 to 20 minutes to get to a grocery store. We do have areas that have gardens, so to say, and that is a great thing for those people who love that fresh produce. But I'd also push for maybe a smaller market in our Ensley area as well, that business district down there, because it's well needed. Because we should, as I said, our people should not have to drive 15 to 20 minutes just to find a store. That's not necessary. And for the people who are not able to purchase those things, then hey, let's start a food pantry. Let's create one. I actually have already started one and would more than happily bring it right back into the area.
Mr. Hall, same question for you, and let me know if you need me to repeat it.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I do believe that, of course, we're in a food desert. We need to invest in doing something to bring the necessary produce to our communities. Our communities are suffering. Our communities are hurting. And so as a counselor, my primary role would be to advocate to identify and find and hopefully incentivize a market that's willing to come to our area and invest in our area and set up shop in our area. I would love to have an opportunity to empower and encourage those within our community to open up a grocery store of its own, a community cooperative, to where the faith community can come together, purchase a spot that's in Forestdale, where the old Dale Champs used to be, and invest in that and make it a actual grocery. Those are some.
All right, thank you so much. And Ms. Tate, all right, if you can unmute on your end.
Okay.
1 minute.
Well, I'm surrounded by, when we look at our communities, you see a Family Dollar, Dollar General, and then it's a Piggly Wiggly in my community that also charges you and put a cost on shopping with them. And so we really need to reimagine, what that looks like. When I go on Highway 78, which is probably like 10, maybe it's less than 7 minutes away from my house where the old food world used to be, I would like to build a partnership with an Aldi that sells organic food, fresh vegetables, just a variety of things. So as Eric stated, the same way, advocate, to make sure that we are asking these businesses to come into our community, but what are you willing to invest back, into the communities? Also, we have a farmer's market, which I live literally 6 minutes from the farmer's market. What you see over in Pepper Place, have a street fest like a farmers market where we have cooking classes, showing young mothers how to cook. And not only that, gardens, making sure that gardens is in every community, every spectrum, and agriculture, farming, people's lives.
All right, thank you so much. And again, if everyone could not mute on your end, I will be muting and unmuting everyone. That way it would make it a quicker process. So let me say this before we continue. District 8 is a place where I spent 11 years of my life. I grew up, was born and raised in that area. And it saddens me to say that the same two grocery stores that Ms. Peters speaks of that are still there today, those were the only two grocery stores that we had in that area. And that's been years ago. And District 9, that is where my grandmother lived. My aunt, I have an aunt and an uncle and aunt that still reside in that area. And like Ms. Tate said, I remember when the food world was on 78, Compass Bank was in front of it. Then it later changed to a food fair. So these residents, they deserve to have growth in that area, just like the District 5s and the District 2s. And we can make these things happen, but it's going to take everyone coming together. So let's go to our next question. The Mayor's Council Act. We know that this has been an ongoing issue for years. As a city councilor, what changes would you like to see made to it? Let's start with Ms. Peters.
The first change I would make is to bring the revenue department back into City Hall, where residents and business owners can print their own licenses again. I think that when we gave the mayor all that power to remove our income from City Hall and process it out, where they count the money first and then bring it back to City Hall, I think that was a bad move. And when he did that, he did not include City Council. He just did it on his own because that's the power that he holds right now. I think that the Mayor Council Act needs to be revised, whereas the mayor does have certain responsibilities that he can hold on his own. But when it comes down to the money, the employment, that should all go before the council.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Peters. Ms. Wright, same question. And you're muted, Ms. Wright.
Okay. In regards to the mayor, I believe that, well, I'm not in agreement with it at all, simply because it has taken a lot from the city council themselves. There are certain decisions they're not necessarily able to assist in making because it's all on the mayor, and that's not necessarily good, because at the end of the day, our city council is responsible for, each one is responsible for a particular district. Overall, they're responsible for overseeing Birmingham as a whole, along with the mayor. With the Mayor Council Act, that actually prohibits a lot of things that they're able to do or would be able to do even financially. So that's something that definitely needs to be addressed and needs to be changed as well. And I believe that once it's done, that it would be more beneficial for our city and all of our districts as a whole to be able to see so when it comes to our finance.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Tate. Same question. All right, give our digital timer. Miss Tate, you're muted.
Well, I agree that the Mayor Council Act in 2016, it was amended, and we all know that former state representative Oliver Robertson had a lot to do with that. And so that took a lot of power, away from the councilor, and it weakened, the council, and gave the additional powers to the mayor. And so I just don't think that, a mayor should have all that power. It weakened, the president pro tem from serving 4 years down to 2 years. So that definitely needs to be changed. And what I definitely do, elected in office, is making sure that we legislate to change that, to balance that power out, because one person does not need to be making, all the decisions, and then having, council people so the powers needs to be balanced.
All right, thank you so much. And Mr. Hall, 1 minute.
So I agree with both Ms. Tate and Ms. Wright. The Mayor Council Act was put in place to make sure that we have a balance of power in government, whether it's the mayor, the councilors, and also the judicial system of the municipality. What we need to do is we need to get with the state legislators who are responsible for the Mayor Council Act and make the appropriate recommendations. One being that the mayor cannot have the financial responsibility to have a blank check and spend as much as he or she wants to, without council's approval. The job of the council is to advocate, legislate, and appropriate. And a part of that appropriation phase, we need to make sure that there's a managing component and hold the mayor accountable to make sure that the funds been allocated with the right intent. And so.
All right, next question. Prior advertising trash pickup. I know this is something that has been talked about a lot in recent weeks, and I actually found out that there's a neighborhood in Birmingham where they've taken their trash pickup to 1 day a week to see how residents would adjust to that. I'm interested, you'll have 1 minute for this question, to get your input on how would you feel if the city of Birmingham was outsourced to a trash pickup company such as Republic, Centec Waste, and those sorts. And for those who are watching, if you're not familiar with how this works, you're already being charged a fee for your trash pickup. But if this was passed in the city of Birmingham, you would pay a quarterly fee, and that fee could contribute to anywhere from $50 for your trash pickup. So we'll start with Ms. Peters.
I don't believe we should outsource our trash and pickup department for the simple fact we have people that work in that department that depend on that job. So that's the first issue I have with that. The second issue is they do a good job with what they're given. The tail can't do anything that the head does not allow him to do. We need to give them more resources, and we do not need to outsource that department, because there will be a lot of people losing their job with the city of Birmingham. And once you outsource, that's true, we will pay a fee. We might get the same or the worse quality of pickup. And we can't complain because it's outsourced to a company that you call 7 digits, but they're not listening to you. They don't care. They don't live in Birmingham. They just work in Birmingham. And then what about all the people that's going to lose their job?
Ms. Wright, same question.
Okay. I agree completely with Ms. Peters. simply because of the fact that that was the one thing I was thinking about, that we are going to have a lot of people that lose their job. And I believe we have enough people now that are seeking jobs and not able to find one, or being told that they're overqualified for something, so they're still sitting without a job, that we don't need anybody else being laid off, especially not within our city. I also believe that if it were outsourced, although yes, it would be a fee, but we do have a lot of elderly within our community. They're struggling as it is. I know, because I speak to many of them every day and talk to them and encourage them and assist them. They're struggling as it is, so they don't need any additional fees. I believe we need to continue to keep it with the city, and whatever needs to be worked out needs to be worked out, because that way our people will keep their jobs. Everything will flow with ease, and then we will also be able to take care of the people within our communities and keep them from having additional fees in the process.
All right, thank you so much. And Ms. Tate, same question.
Ms. Peters and Ms. Wright is spot on. I definitely do not believe that trash services should be outsourced. I can remember growing up when the trash man came 3 times a week. And can you imagine if you cut the service down to 1 day a week, and the trash pile up, the build up that builds up in people's house, that they have to keep this hazardous material waste in their home to, a week later. And so Mountain Brook, we don't live in a rich zip code. You got to think about the people that don't have jobs, as Ms. Rice said, the elderly that are on fixed incomes, and they can't afford to pay an additional fee for trash pickup. And so that's just a bad move, bad idea. You need to raise the pay of those that do collectors jobs, and look at your benefit package to attract more people to do these jobs. I know a lot of people that I know that I grew up with retired from the city of Birmingham. Those were great paying jobs.
All right, thank you so much. And Mr. Hall.
So the public works provide a great service to the city, and we should be willing to invest more in making sure that they are able to do their jobs effectively and efficiently as possible. Right now, we have trucks that are literally breaking down on the side of the roads. A lot of the vehicles that we do own don't have adequate air conditioning and things like that. So we need to make sure that our public service workers, public works employees are taken care of. No, we do not need to outsource anything to make someone else rich with taxpayer dollars. We need to take care of what we have. And a lot of our community members are already struggling and suffering. And so we cannot afford any additional fees or bills to be had. The problem that we see now from places that have these services is, what happens is residents in Birmingham will go outside and start dumping trash, and we'll have a bigger problem. So we need to keep it as it is.
All right, next question, and we'll do 2 more questions, and then after those, we will allow you time for your closing statements. So the next question, the crime in our city, while we know there is no direct solution to end gun violence, a lot of people have been talking about police being more present in the neighborhoods. But how can this be done if our police department isn't getting the support that it needs from current administration? If elected, what would you do to make sure that all of our men and women in blue receive the support that they need? We'll start with Ms. Peters.
I will make sure that the city of Birmingham Police Department is properly funded. But also, we don't want to fund and we're not receiving what we need to receive. Such as, once we do the funding for the city of Birmingham Police Department, we need to make them neighborhood friendly again. Get out your car, walk the neighborhood, get to know the people in the neighborhood. Right now, I can count probably on one finger in the last month how many times I've seen a police officer come through my street. And that's sad. The more presence of a police, the less violence you will have, because they don't know when the police gonna show up. But the way the Birmingham is running now, They might come through the neighborhood once a month when somebody get killed. And that's sad. So when we fund them, let's make sure they do their job.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Okay, I completely agree with Ms. Peters. We do need to make sure that that they are funded in the manner they need to be. However, we also need to devise some level of a plan where our policemen and our neighborhood associations and communities can work together, can come together, simply because of the fact that, just as she said, there is a great divide in the midst, and you have people that fear the police, and you have police that really don't even show up when something happens in the community. I know I hear gunshots every other day. They don't show up. So we need to work on that, because our policemen need to be more relatable when it comes to the people, and the people need to feel safer with them around. So we need to develop and build relationships within our communities with our policemen, however that looks, whether it means them coming in and assisting with programs, or them coming in even for a sense of educational information as well. But whatever it takes, we have to make it happen to build those relationships again.
All right. Thank you. And Ms. Tatum, I know with you having a background in prison and the justice system, this is going to be passionate for you, but try to stay as much as you can within that 1 minute time frame as possible.
Again, we got to reimagine, what public safety looks like. People talk about giving the police department more money. It doesn't take a whole lot of, money to run a police department. We got to reimagine, what that looks like. And so that comes with training, proper training. We have no way of weeding out a bad seed. We saw all the uproar across the country all summer long with the the killing of George Floyd, the brutality. And so we got to reimagine what that looks like, even in the community. When we talk about violence, you're not going to stop violence overnight. We got faith actions, peacemakers. We got things right in place. So if the city of Birmingham was really interested in stopping violence, you have a peacemakers, faith in action, ready to go. They have a plan that they've implemented. It's called replication. When you look around the country, you see a lot of different states moving around, allocating funds from the police and investing them in social service programs. You cannot keep hyper policing communities. You gotta have training and give people in communities job and bring them out of poverty.
All right. Thank you. And Mr. Hall.
So I agree. Hey, we do need to reimagine and re-envision what policing in this day and age is looking like. And we also have to ask the question, is policing as we know it, is it working? Have we seen crime decrease in the city of Birmingham? On top of that, with the increased funding that the police department has gotten over years and years and years, we're talking millions of dollars, but there have been no metrics in place to measure the performance of policing as we know it. So we need to begin to reimagine what public safety looks like. And also we need to invest in other alternatives. We need to invest in crime prevention methods. We need to invest in social services. We need to be in a position to where we can hire more social service providers to assist police and people so that they can effectively do their job, and also so that our communities can be whole. That's the step in the direction that as counselor I'm looking at going into.
All right. Thank you so much. And this is a bonus question. We asked our mayoral candidates last night. I'm interested to get your input. So as you all are aware, everyone is aware that Birmingham is now the second largest city in the state of Alabama. And in research, we know that cities that invest strongly in their school system with an amount of $25 million or more, those are the ones that top rank. As a city councilor, would you support an investment to the Birmingham City Schools of $25 million or more? Why or why not? And we'll start with Ms. Peters.
I would definitely invest in the Birmingham City public school system. That's a system that needs work day and night. We have too many children going to private schools. We have too many children going to charter schools. We need to invest in the public school system bring back trades in the public school system, and everyone would stand a fair chance. Everybody's not meant to go to college. Everyone's not meant to be in trade. But if we equal the power, our children would stand a better choice and they would have a better education. Without good education, your city is no good. And right now, our city is no good because we've lost so many schools. Now we're losing them to charter schools. Now we're losing them to private schools, but you're still staying in the city of Birmingham. But my child go to a charter school. That's not good.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Peters. Same question, Ms. Wright.
Yes, I would definitely support that level of investment simply because I was a substitute teacher for about 10 years. And in being a substitute teacher, I've seen a lot. I've also mentored within the school system. So I know that there's a great lack when it comes to our Birmingham City schools, especially in our urban areas. And that's just the truth of the matter. So those schools, they need those funding. They need those funding for their books. They need those funding for educational resources. They need those fundings even to bring in even those mentoring programs and development, community development, social development programs, even for our young children. And even as Ms. Peters said, we need to bring those trades back into our high schools because I was in high school, when we had all those trades, and that gave our men a better opportunity to come out and get jobs. Everybody's not going to go to college. We're going to be honest. So we need to make sure that we make those provisions so that people will have a better chance when they're coming out.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wright. And Ms. Tate, same question.
Yes, and yes, and yes. I would definitely, make sure that as a city councilor that I make every effort to make sure that the school get the resources that they need. I'm gonna go back to my years, been out of school, over 30 some years. And so I can remember in my high school, you had home economics, you had HVAC, you had plumbing, carpentry, welding, classes where it taught us where we were, taught how to type, and business classes. And when you got out of high school, you were able to go and start a meaningful job, go work for the federal government at the age of 19 years old and retire when 50 years old. And so we definitely, need to have trades back there. Alabama, the state of Alabama, bringing so many automotive industries in here, tech, opportunities, and we need to make sure that we partner with people like Google and offering coding classes, in high school, and to system impacted people to make sure that these people get great jobs and can sustain, good lifestyles.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tate and Mr. Hall.
Yeah, so we definitely more into our public school systems. I'm a product of the Birmingham public school system. And it was because of the arts that I was afforded the opportunity to go to college and grad school. However, over the years, it's a very sad reality that we've seen so many of our schools close. We've seen our arts and sports programs defunded, literally forcing us out of our communities. And as a result, that's the reason why we're the second largest city, is because we have allowed systemic racism and systemic injustice to force us out of our communities, and also to gain our beloved students. It's now the communities that are outside of Birmingham that's thriving with our students. And so we need to invest back into Birmingham. We need to invest in our public school system, and we need to invest in housing, and we need to, bring the magic back to the Magic City.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Hall. And our last question for the evening, and I know this one is going to be personal for a lot of you as a Black business owner, which I'm also a Black business owner. So the question is, in the recent years, our city has seen a huge growth in the amount of Black-owned businesses opening in our city. Would you support, as a counselor, a Black Dollar Mall in your area to strengthen and support the relationships between the Black-owned businesses with your district? And we'll start with Ms. Peters.
Yes, I would support that. The reason I would support that, because I am a Black business owner, and we don't patronize each other. We need to learn how to patronize each other. My cost may be a little higher than your cost that you're used to going into the other neighborhood, but my wholesale price is higher than theirs are. We need to patronize. And yes, I would support a black mall because we need it. We need our young people to see us productive. We need them to know that, hey, one day you can run your own business. One day you can sell your own products. One day you can make your own products. So if we do that, we definitely will be going in the right track for the young people that's coming behind us. And they will know the value of owning your own, working for your own, and keeping your own, and also taking care of your neighborhood.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Peters and Ms. Wright. Same question.
Okay, yes, I would definitely support it, mainly because of the fact that right now that's something that we definitely don't have but truly need. We have to build one another up. And we have to come together in order to do that. Right now, we travel pretty much 10, 15, 20 miles a lot of times just to go and find a mall or a store or anywhere to shop at. And sometimes we go to the boutiques or we patronize one another. But if we can bring it all together in one general area, then I believe that number one, we'll have more support than we would have normally had, or more than we even have now, just being honest. And I believe that although sometimes the prices may be a little higher now because of the way that we have to purchase things, those prices would decrease because you gain more business, because we're all shopping in this one general area, shopping from the same place. Because there are many of us who would love to just support our own, but sometimes we have to seek it out. So if we can bring it all together in one general area, it would be easy for us to come together and just support our own, build our own, and then go from there. Because right now we're going all over the place trying to find what we need, and really stuck on Amazon trying to get it because it's not in our general area.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Wright and Ms. Tate. Same question.
I wholeheartedly agree with Miss Peters and Miss Wright. You know, when I traveled to Oklahoma about a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to go to um, Black Wall Street, you know, where Black Wall Street was. So I truly believe in it. And then I've been reading in a lot of articles in this last year. The pandemic birthed a lot of entrepreneurs. You know, when you look at the Shucks Corn Truck, I just read an article about two young ladies um, just launched a vegan ice cream line. You got a lot of people that are using the skill set that their grandparents and mom passed down with baking, cooking, just an array of things that and when I look at North Birmingham from where I live, what we used to call the Avenue, that whole section is just looks like a third world country. And then even when Canvas and Wylam, it reminds me of the old section of North Birmingham. All of that can be redeveloped with a barbershop, you know, Black business owners. And as Miss Peters said, passing that knowledge down to the next generation of business leaders. So I agree, you know, that we definitely need, you know, a Black Wall Street and to start our own Black businesses.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Tate and Mr. Hall.
I agree. Need to invest, have a place to where all of our Black business and Black entrepreneurs can gather, and we can shop and thrive together. I would love to see that happen in District 9. I would love to see it happen, near the 19th, 20th Street, where we do have some businesses, but that area was intended, it was an area where Black businesses thrive. And I would like to see that continue. I do want to say that we do need to be on the cutting edge of working with our youth and our young people. They have been very innovative with these pop-up shops, that pop-up markets. And so if we can invest in helping them expand those efforts, then I'm definitely on board with doing that. And so, yes, I agree.
All right, and thank you, Mr. Hall. And before we do allow you for your closing remarks, I want to thank each of you for taking the time to spend your evening with us as you let your constituents in your neighborhoods know more about you as we are just 7 days until next Tuesday. That is our Birmingham municipal elections. And as I said last night, you need to run to the polls because we all know what's at stake in this election. And you are the only one that could make the change happen that you are seeking. That change starts with you. So you have to be that change. So what I'm going to do at this time, you will have 1 minute. We're going to do your opening, a closing a little different. This was something we did last week and it turned out to be fun. So what I want each of you to do, I want you to take about 40 seconds. You're pitching your neighborhood to me in whichever way you can. Take 40 seconds. And then for the last few seconds, tell us your name again and one thing of why people should vote for you. And I know that's going to be hard, but hopefully we can stay within that minute. And we'll start with Ms. Peters.
Well, we are pitching the lovely prospect. Come on down to Prospect. Swim, because we do need to add that gym that the former Mayor Langford promised us. We have lots of shopping that you can do, but right now we have a food desert, but we're going to make that better. We have great restaurants that are reasonable. We have great schools in our system in District 8. And also, the majority of our young people that go to District 9 school, they live in District 8, and they also go to District 7 schools. But we have wonderful, educated young people in District 8. Come out and let them show and listen to them and see how they vision District 8 growing.
All right, and you can go ahead and remind people to vote for you and tell us one reason why we should vote for you.
Vote for Lynette Peters. A vote for me is a vote for you. If you want District 8 to grow, if you want the young people to have a better opportunity in the Birmingham public school system, vote for me. If you want someone that's going to go to work and get the job done at hand, vote for me. If you want someone that's going to work day and night with District 8 in mind, but also to grow Birmingham as a whole, vote for me.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Peters. And Ms. Wright, same with you. We'll give you 1 minute to, I know it's hard, but try to stay within that time frame as much as possible. You're pitching District 8 to us any way you want to. And then in the last closing seconds, tell us one reason why your district should vote for you on next Tuesday.
Okay, this is going to be fun. Okay, pitching District 8. Well, if you're looking for a district, or should I say a neighborhood or community that holds a lot of history, then District 8 is your place. If you're looking for a place where you can grow and build from the ground up, District 8 is your place. A lot of people look at District 8 and see all the dilapidated buildings and the abandoned homes. But when I look at it, I see promise. I see growth. I see advancement. I see what it could be. And I would tell anyone who would like to invest in your future, that District 8 is the place that you need to make that investment. My name is Wanda Wright, and I'm running for Birmingham City Council for District 8. And as your city councilman, I will strive for the revitalization of our communities, our community development, and the decrease of crime rates in our area. Because when I look at District 8, I see where we should be, not where we are, and definitely not where we have been. So on August 24th, hey guys, let's get out and vote. No matter what, just vote, because your vote matters.
All right, District 8 has me wanting to make a ride to District 8. So we're going to continue with Ms. Tate, and the same thing. First your pitch, and then in your closing seconds, tell us one reason why people should vote for you on next Tuesday.
Well, I'm LaTanya Tate, running for City Council for District 9. I just invite you to come on over to District 9, where we have the farmers market, where we just reimagining what community can look like, bringing back the community, bringing back neighborhood revitalization, definitely working hard to restore what I know as the Avenue in North Birmingham, where we can have like our own coffee shop, our own depot, where we can rent rental spaces, where we can have great food, get your hair done up there, even the old McDonald's that's closed down, making sure that we get some restaurants on Caraway Boulevard, and just reimagining just what that could look like, neighborhood revitalization. When we go over into Wylam, making that old town look good. Pratt City, the old Ensley, just Black Wall Street, just Black joy. And so I'm Latanya Tate, running for City Council, District 9. And I encourage everyone to vote like this is the presidential election, because it's a lot at stake. I would definitely fight to decrease crime, making sure I'm partnering with the peacemakers, any partners that have plans already in place, neighborhood and revitalization, economic justice, food desert, social justice, voter right restoration, making sure that our system impacted people are not left out. So don't fall for the bait. Vote Latanya Tate on August the 24th for City Council District 9.
All right, I'm already sold on District 9. All right, Eric, what you got for us?
So District 9 is thriving. District 9 will definitely be better with you in it. District 9, we're a resilient district, a district of beauty, a district of great businesses, a district of great opportunities. When you come to District 9, you can see our new developed libraries, our new library in the Pratt City District, and we recently redid the Wylam Library. Our schools are top notch. We have new development schools with Jackson Olin High School, the Carver High School. Wylam has had some renovations, and so we're literally thriving in District 9, and we can do so much better if we had your time, talents, and treasures in our district. So I do want to encourage you all to vote for Eric Hall on August the 24th. As your next city councilor for District 9. A vote for Eric Hall is a vote for experience. I've been in the district, I've served in City Hall, I've served under 2 councilors, and so we need to reinvest back into District 9. We need to restore power to the people. We need to help our children. We need to build our communities up, and I believe it's now time that we do that in District 9. And so I encourage you all again to vote for Eric Hall. Eric Hall is the only candidate that has received recognition from the Honorable Michelle Obama and other progressive organizations such as Senator Bernie Sanders, Our Revolution, Vote Pro-Choice, Working Families Party, Democratic Socialists of Birmingham, and the Real Voters of Birmingham. And so they believe in me, I believe in you all. Together we can make it happen.
All right, thank you so much. And at this time, again, I want to thank all of our candidates for being on tonight. And for if you want to go back and hear District 8, you need to go back to last week's program because that was District 7 and 8. So next Monday, and this is one of the reasons why I'm hosting tonight along, all of the co-moderators that have been gracious enough to share their time with me, all of us will come together next Monday, and we will talk from the subject of using your voice for the power of change. So you definitely want to tune in for that. And as always, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Everything is under Divine Vision Entertainment. Visit our website at divinevisionent.com. And I want to close the same way I did last night with 2 quotes. The first is from Mrs. Coretta Scott King. Struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and you win it in every generation. And then the second quote is from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. People often hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other. They don't know each other because they cannot communicate. They cannot communicate because they are separated. So I'd like for you to take the time to let those quotes sink in. Have a great evening, and this has been a great pleasure. I will save all thank yous for all forums on Monday. So have a great evening. Candidates, best of luck to you. And everyone, let's make the plans to rock the vote because we know the quality of life that we like to see on August the 24th. Have a great evening.